So I've got a simple example scene here that basically makes a line of cubes and a line of spheres. And what I want to talk about next is how to get attributes from one node to another node. So I'm going to unparent, Shift P, the sphere maker, and you can see that as soon as I do that, it doesn't have access to any of these values anymore. Like if I look at the raw view, it's looking for a token called count and a token called spacing, and those just don't exist because they're not coming in through the hierarchy anymore. So this code would clearly fail. So what I need to do in order to get those back is I just need to add two new attributes on here and add count, and I'll add spacing. Now what I can do here is I can actually reference the count and spacing attributes from the other node, and it will bring those things right in. And I can do this through a connection. But what's even cooler about this is that you can see that that connection is actually just another token. Now this token has a full path. The / means the start of the stage. The node name that it's going for is cube maker, and then the attribute that it's going to grab is count. And then when I switch back to the resolved view, that will grab that attribute and place it in there for my sphere maker. Now, again, I can override these values. So let's say the spacing here. What if I just want it to be the spacing, but half of whatever the spacing is? Well, I can do functions up here in these attributes in order to calculate different values. So when I come down here to the sphere maker and I look, I can see that that resolved math gets plugged right down into here. Okay, so now that I've got this set up, I'll select the first node, execute from selected, and let's go check over in Maya and see what's been made. Cool. And just to zip back over, and we'll change our overall spacing to something really small. Execute it again, and we can see now that the spacing is really small. I wanted to add one further idea to this little setup where we can use and reference attributes within attributes. So to show that working, I'll add another attribute here, and I'll call this factor. And I'll just put 2 here. So instead of always dividing by 2, I can just refer to another attribute within the same list. So in this case, we'll say the factor is what I will divide by. And when I switch over to my resolve view, you can see that 2 substitutes down in there. So if I were to change this, quickly change this factor to 3, and then get a refresh on here, you can see that now that 3 gets dropped down in there. And I'll go ahead and execute from the selected node, and we'll see how that relationship has changed. Pretty neat.